Good day to you one and all. It is I, Justin Hawkins, and this is Justin Hawkins Rides Again. Now, something really, really hilarious is unfolding. It's this terrible feud, bitter feud. Two grown-ass people really laying into each other. I don't even think that initially one of the antagonists was even involved in the debate, but it's become Sebastian Bach versus Ronnie Radke, and I'm not sure if I'm saying his name correctly, but here's the background to it. Falling in Reverse vocalist Ronnie Radke has spent several days warring with Sebastian Bach, who's the Skid Row vocalist, and Sirius XM presenter Eddie Trunk on social media over the band's use of laptops during live performances. The time has come for me to provide reportage to this feud. I'm not going to weigh in on either side. I think both arguments have merit. It's interesting to see the way it's being conducted, and obviously it's a topical hot potato, and I'm just about to grasp it with both hands. Justin Hawkins rides again. It's interesting though, isn't it? I think what happened was Falling in Reverse were forced to pull out of a scheduled gig after some of their laptops went missing. It's interesting that it's laptops plural. How are they? I mean, here's how naive I am about modern music. How are they useful if there's more than one on stage? Are they connected with some kind of firewire cable, or is it connected by Bluetooth? I don't know. I mean, I don't know what the laptops are being used for. Presumably, though, it's something in the... Or maybe it's a laptop and a spare. You know, if they both go missing, you're in big trouble. I use a laptop for DJing gigs, actually. And when I was sort of researching what you need to do to be able to use a laptop for digital DJing, most people travel with 3 laptops in case 2 of them go down. So maybe that's what happened. Perhaps Falling in Reverse needed 1 laptop. It's the only thing that makes any sense to me. Or, no, here's another thing. What if the laptop isn't used for pre-recorded accompaniment, but they're using like some kind of plug-in synthesizer sounds, which would be triggered with a MIDI keyboard, and then, you know, the sounds themselves would come from the laptops. In that instance, that's not even pre-recorded, is it? You're just using it like a synthesizer. The laptop itself is the synthesizer. Those of you who are as old as me will remember Paul Hardcastle on Top of the Pops in the 1980s with a fucking computer at his keyboard. He was still playing the bits, you know. I'm not even sure. I think he was just looking at porn. He had a big smile on his face. That'll be it. Anyway, so Ronnie posted a video the day before explaining their predicament and their decision to withdraw from the festival bill. Ronnie said, "I'm sorry, and I never make videos like this, but I feel like I owe it to you guys. We show up to rehearsals and our laptops are missing. That we run all of our show on and stuff. As a band in 2022, you need your laptops, you know. It's like driving a car without an engine. It's really unfortunate." I don't think that's true of all bands, by the way. I mean, I think if the laptop is running the show, he could even be talking about like the lighting element of it as well. It's not necessarily relating to music. It's quite ambiguous in that statement itself. Eddie Trunk posted a response on Facebook and kickstarted a debate about the authenticity of using backing tracks in a live setting. "This is astonishing. First, I heard about..." This is Eddie Trunk talking. "This is astonishing. First, I missed that bit of school. I kept fainting every time I lifted my arms up. That's why I sit like this most of the time. First, I heard about this. I thought it was a joke to wind me up. How much longer are fans, promoters, media just going to accept the epidemic of live rock shows not really being live? Paying your hard-earned money to see a band play live that's not truly live. And there are countless bands in 2022 that hone their craft and play live. Tons, new and old, including the one that subbed for them in their slot, Jackal. No laptop needed there. This is just unreal, but at least I give them credit for being honest. Wow, I am closer than ever to launching my own band, and I can't sing or play a note. Simply amazing." Several days later, he added, "In a week where we actually saw a band cancel a show because their fucking laptops were down, I'm watching a real live raw rock band that's been around 50 plus years with a 76-year-old lead singer kill on stage. Rock and roll like it should be. Thank you, Aerosmith." You can see that Eddie Trunk is, he's outraged by the idea that you can't do a gig without a laptop. I mean, I think in a certain genre of music, pre-recorded elements are prevalent. They have been since the 80s, actually. Personally, I like to hear fingers and amps and stuff that could easily go wrong. But that's my personal preference. I understand that in order to put the show that you want to put across, sometimes there's a lot more production involved. And a lot of that will involve laptops. They're just a really convenient and powerful way to run things like the lighting and the backing tracks and so on. This is the moment where it all appears that Radke picked up his phone and declared a personal war on Bach and Trunk. He says, so you want to talk hella shit about laptops? I'm not sure if this is the correct accent for Radke, but here we go. So, you want to talk hella shit? Probably isn't English. So, you want to talk hella shit about laptops, but go watch Kiss lip sync. Steven Tyler plays the piano, then halfway through the song, he stands on top of the piano while it still plays. Yet here we are acting like they all don't use tracks. You f***ing idiot. Literal moron. See, I feel like it's a fair argument if there's like a piano that's playing itself. I think that's a reasonable point. But it's undermined somewhat by the name calling that happens at the end. And this is going to be inflammatory. And this is the sort of thing that leads to what we love. We haven't seen something like this since the 90s, actually, with the Blur and Oasis stuff. And I've always tried to incite my own little feuds here and there, because it's good fun to take part in. And actually, I think a debate like this is really interesting that it's happening. And I'm really glad that there's so much fire and brimstone around it. Radke then dragged Sebastian Bach into the debate, tweeting, Eddie Trunk introducing Sebastian Bach using tracks. Both idiots talking shit about me using tracks. Can't make this shit up. He's really angry, I think. Bach responded, wow, dummy. He's calling him names as well. Are you trying to say that you believe that I use tracks on stage? And then he addresses Eddie Trunk and says, Eddie Trunk, how funny is this? How fucking funny is this? Adding, watch what happens when track bands call real musicians idiots. He added, it's always so much fun to show someone what the world was like before the internet existed. Get fucking ready. Virtual reality is so much fun until you have to deal with actual reality. In your face? In your face. Can't wait to meet you in person. Name the time and place and I will introduce you to rock and roll in person, man. Trouble is, I met Sebastian Bach last week. He's fucking massive. He is massive. That is a huge guy. I mean, obviously, his shoulders aren't as broad as mine, so I'm not sure about the power of his punch, but he's a big guy. It's been difficult to knock him over, I think. Ronnie responded to a now-deleted tweet from the former Skid Row frontman. What a fucking bummer, all in capital letters. This man that we all once loved is literally disrespecting an entire generation of bands. You got a lot of people that grew up listening to you. You should be ashamed of yourself. Shit changes. So do people. The fuck is your problem? Yeah. I think shit does change, actually, and technology changes as well. Ronnie then continued to post tweets mocking Sebastian Bach. Okay, this is the thing that my producer asked me to make sure I get to. These are the amusing memes. So one of them is seems to be an old-fashioned metronome, and it says, Sebastian Bach makes his drummer stare at this because a computer is cheating. Okay. It's quite mild, actually. I was expecting it to be more personal. And then and then he's done a carrier pigeon with a little rolled up note around his neck, and it says, this is Sebastian Bach sending a tweet like that. Then he's got an old-fashioned aeroplane, and it says Sebastian Bach on his way to show me what real rock and roll is. And and then he's got an old-fashioned knight, and it says, Sebastian Bach catching me outside the Excalibur Hotel and Casino after his set next to the blackjack tables. Wow. I mean, these are all pretty mild ribbing about Sebastian Bach's kind of rejection of modern technology in the realm of music performance. I don't think anybody's pretending that we don't all use computers in the studio now. Try and buy tape. I challenge you. It's all been bought up. It was bought up in 2006 by The Darkness, and there's another artist that I'm aware of who bought up a fuck ton more of it as well just after that. There's none around, it's really difficult to find the quality tape to actually do old-fashioned recordings. It's all going to be computers. Everything you listen to that's recorded after about 2010 is probably going to be on computers, unless somebody's stockpiled all the tape. But I did see some other stuff raging in this debate about things like intro tapes and outro tapes. And I think a lot of the time your front of house man will have whatever you're using as your introduction tape on a laptop. But my favourite thing is when they forget to turn it down and then the next song starts after, for example, ABBA Arrival, which is what we always use. And then the next one is When I Kissed the Teacher, or some other random track from the Arrival record. That one about tigers or something. Then they're trying to start the song and then there's another ABBA song going on. Things like that, slip-ups do occur, even with these newfangled confusers, I call them. You can see why. Having said that, we had a show in a completely unrelated story. This is not me weighing in on either side. We had a situation where we parked our van outside the Alcatraz venue in Milan. Brilliant, nearly sort of 3,000 capacity club. It's amazing, that place. Awesome atmosphere. And we were parked up the night before, and then the next morning somebody had stolen all of the things from the van. So we didn't have any guitars, no effects, and I think they left the amplifiers. That was kind of them. And we had to sort of hastily build new rigs to be able to perform that night. But we did it, you know. I think when something goes missing, it's quite easy to replace. But a laptop is not, if it has all of the, and that's what suggests to me that this might have been like the pre-recorded accompaniment stuff, because I think just about anything else, like if it was just a case of, and why isn't it in the cloud? Just get another laptop, download it from the cloud. That's the thing that people can do now, isn't it, guys? Isn't it? I don't know. Anyway, I think, to a degree, I think Eddie Trunk, he's making like the argument that a band ought to be able to play if their computer isn't working. On the other side of it, I think Ronnie is saying that for them to do a show that they confidently feel is doing justice to the ticket price and what their audience has come to expect from them, they need the additional accompaniment and the presence of electronic elements. It's difficult to sort of weigh in on either side, really. It's all being conducted with such fervour that I'm sort of nervous about it, really. I can imagine myself getting my head kicked in by both Sebastian Bach and Ronnie Radke while Eddie Trunk looks on and laughs. So yeah, what do you think? Use the comment section here. I mean, the darkness is used like, we did go through a little period where we were sort of triggering samples. We've even tried playing to clicks on a tour around about 15 years ago and it didn't work. We need the fluctuation in tempo. We need to be able to respond to what's happening in the room. And what's usually happening in the room is a load of people who in various states of undress and inebriation that need entertaining. And I feel like we sort of cater the cadence and so on of all of our songs to the room as it stands. But that's a totally different art form to doing something that's rigid and tempo mapped and has a lot of electronic elements to it. It's just the way some bands do things, you know. And it's more prevalent these days because, you know what? Young people love it, don't they? They just love it. So yeah, use the comment section. Let's keep this debate raging. I'm dying to hear your thoughts. Justin Hawkins rides again. And I'm particularly excited to see an actual full-blown feud playing out before my very eyes on the internet, in the internet generation. It's wonderful stuff. So well done, Ronnie. Well done, Sebastian. Keep the fire burning. I think this is a debate that needs to be conducted with as much passion as possible, and you are just the guys to do it. Nice one. Thank you very much for the entertainment. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and watch one of these two videos. Cheers, guys. See you on the ice.